something like that when you're all done. So it's really important for you to be able to do more of these problems because I'm happy to work through a bunch of them with you, but ultimately you've got to be able to do this on your own is to get some of this down, make sure you're comfortable with this whole graphing thing, and we'll do a few problems until you are.
Okay.
That's too far to the right. So remember, you don't count the first one. There you go. All right, let me grab a snip of this. We'll do the same thing. This one's a little bit easier than the last one because you don't have to worry about signs as much. All right, so let me share my screen here. All right, so we have 5x plus 2y. So this time to solve for y, we're always solving for y. We're gonna undo this positive 5x. We're gonna subtract 5x. And it's always better to put it up front. So it's 2y equals negative 5x plus 12. This 12 is really positive. Is that okay, that step?
Yeah.
All right. And then you divide everything by the number in front of x. So y equals negative 5 over 2x plus 6. So what is the slope and what is the b value?
Um, the m value would be negative 5 over 2,
Good. And the b value?
6.
Okay. And which do you start with, the b value or the slope when you graph?
The slope.
Value. Start here. And if you go to a haunted house or something this time of year, it tells you to start here. You start with the b value. So you go up from the origin to the b value. That's the b value right there. That's 6. Now the slope is minus 5 over 2. Is that up or down 5?
Down 5.
Down 5, and then it's always to the right too. And you never count the original one. Okay, so when you put your cursor there at B and start going down, that's the first one you count when you go down.
Okay.
And then when you go to the right, again, similarly, you don't count where you start. So there's your second point there. Okay, so something totally different, of course, right when you're ready to maybe do one on your own here. Let me grab a snip of this. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so it says Cherie works in retail and her weekly salary includes commission for the amount she sells. The equation S equals 400 plus 0.15C models the relationship between her weekly salary S in dollars and the amount of her sales C in dollars. Interpret the S intercept of the equation. So if I were to write what we're used to, it's usually Y equals, and that's usually X. Do you agree with that part so far?
Yes.
Okay. Now, normally it's X and then Y, but in this problem, instead of Y, it's S, and instead of X, it's C. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So the S-intercept means that X is equal to 0, but that's really now C equal to 0. Because normally it's X, normally it's Y. Is that okay so far?
Yeah.
All right, so now what they're really asking to do is figure out what is S when C is 0. Imagine putting 0 in for C.
415.
Well, but you multiply by 0 first. What is anything times 0?
Oh, 0,
And what is anything plus 0?
0.
So the answer is definitely the ones that have 0 in it. Okay.
Okay.
Now let's look at the words. Um, is which one says which one says 400, but uh refers to the fact that she's made no sales?
Second one?
You mean letter B? This one here?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And you do get problems like that on your on your test. Like they always like it to have an interpret question there. Okay. So this one I'd like you to try. Can you figure out the slope of that? What's the number in front of X?
7.
What is the number in front of X to the left of X?
Oh, Y.
All right, let me grab a snip here. I'm being unclear. All right. You didn't do anything wrong. I know how hard it is to do math, especially, verbally. It's that's okay though. Let me make this really clear. All right. So I'm referring to what is right here that's not written and it's a
Oh.
1. There's a 1 in front of X.
So the slope would be 1.
Slope is 1. All right. Now the y-intercept is when X equals 0. So you want to train your brain to think of that. So when X is 0, what is the y value?
7. 0 and 7.
0, 7. There you go. All right, so this is kind of like the one that I did with the commission. Will you give this one a try on your own before I give any assistance? It's
Yes.
essentially the same, just different numbers.
I got 28.
Okay, so that means it's down to either the second or the last answer, B or D. And in this case, it's when there is no water that is used. There you go. Good. All right. So we've actually talked about this already, how to graph these, is you first um, uh, identify the slope and the y-intercept. Which of those answers says that? You don't actually have to determine the slope. You just have to, the answer is the one that says, hey, we need to get the slope and get the y-intercept.
Mm, would it be the last one?
Does the last one say anything about slope?
Oh, then the third one.
Yes, the third one says to get the slope and the y-intercept. And that's how you graph. What would, oh, you already answered it. Just going to ask you what the slope and the y-intercept, what would they be in this question?
Mm,
I'm going to probably tell you, it's not. What's the number in front of x up there at the top?
-5,
That's the slope. And what's the b value? It's the other number.
2.
There you go. Good. Okay. Uh, this is the same as the previous one. Okay, this one is more involved. It requires you to solve for y. So let me grab a snip of this. This is a lot like the first couple that we did. All right. Okay. So if you see my screen here, we have to solve this equation for y. So we're going to first subtract 8x from both sides of the equation. It's really good to kind of put it in front of the number. So it's minus 8x plus 18. Is that part okay?
Yeah,
You're just going to move whatever it is. If it's like the 8x is positive, so you subtract it. Now, what's in front of the y? What do you have here?
+6.
So you divide by 6. You divide everything by 6. So it's negative 8 over 6x. What is 18 divided by 6?
-3.
They're both positive. They're both
Oh,
positive.
so it would be
Sorry.
3.
Okay. All right. So now the slope has to be reduced. Can you reduce this fraction?
Yes.
Yes. 2 goes into both the top and the bottom. What does it reduce to?
-4 over 3.
Okay. So what is the slope?
3.
-4/3.
Oh,
It's the number in front of x. It's everything in front of x.
mm, the y-intercept would be 0 and 3.
Yes, good. Really good. All right, so while you're entering that, I'm just going to step away for 30 seconds, grab more coffee. I'll be right back with you, though. All right, do you feel comfortable to try solving this one on your own?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to take a snip onto my screen anyway, so just work it out. I'll do the same, and we'll compare answers here in a moment. How are you doing on this one?
The slope is -1/3.
Yes, you got it. Good job.
And then the y-intercept is 0 and -6.
You got it. Good job. All right. Okay. All right. So this one's more difficult. I'm gonna grab a snip of this one for sure to help. Uh, all right, so I got it up on my screen now, and you should be seeing that here shortly. There you go. It is kind of like the last one where you're just solving for y, but uh, get a fraction here, which is there's a couple of things you can do when you have a fraction. One is you could clear the fraction by multiplying everything by the bottom number, which is probably what I would recommend for you at this point. So if we multiply everything by 5, you end up getting 40x divided by 5 minus 10y equals -40. Does that look okay to you?
Yeah.
All right, now 40 divided by 5 is 8, so it's really 8x minus 10y equals -40. Now it looks like a problem that you've been doing.
Hmm.
So let's just keep working it the way we've been working it. -8x minus 8x. minus 10y equals minus 8x minus 40. Divide by minus 10. So it ends up being y equals minus 8 over 10 minus 10x plus 4. Why is it plus 4 and not negative here?
Because they're both positive.
They're both negative, so it becomes positive. Good. Now, in the middle here, the negatives cancel, and 2 goes into both 8 and 10, so it's 4 over 10. I'm sorry, 4 over 5 x. And now you have the slope, 4/5, and the b value, which is 4. And you graph it just the way you've been doing. Wait, no. Okay, let me go back and share my screen. I guess the didn't make it clear how to graph it. So you start at the b value of 4. So your first point is right there at 4. Remember, you always
Oh,
go up to the b value. The b value is first. Then you use the slope. The slope is 4/5. You're going up 4 and right 5. So from this point, you're going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then right 5 somewhere there,
oh.
something like that. Okay, so this one is really similar to the last one. Uh, what I'd like you to do, if you're comfortable with it, is to get rid of that fraction like we did in the previous problem, and then solve for y. But let me share my screen. We might as well do one more here together. So one of the things is whenever you see a fraction, you just get rid of it. You just multiply everything by 4. So it's 4x over 4 plus 4y and -8. And if you're not sure why it's a 4 in front of the y, it's because there's really a 1 there.
Would I divide all of the
Yes.
numbers? Or,
Well, so it becomes x plus 4y equals -8, and then it looks like a problem you've been doing.
oh,
So what do you come up with here? Tell me what when you solve for y, what do you end up getting?
For y. Oh, I did it wrong. I was solving for x.
That's okay. Go ahead and restart.
When I subtract it, and
Yes, you subtract 1x from both sides, just like we've been doing, and then you put it in front. So it's 4y equals minus 1x minus 8. And then you divide everything by 4.
I got 4x minus 2.
-1 divided by 4 is -1/4 x. You
Oh,
keep the number on top. Okay. What
okay.
is the slope and what is the b value?
The slope would be -1/4.
And what's the b value?
-2.
Okay, and which do you start with when you're graphing?
The slope?
Nope.
No, the b value.
Got to remember that. That's really critical to remember to start with the b value. Okay, now the slope says down 1 and then right 4. It's always to the right. So something like that. Okay. So just to kind of let me, I guess, because you may want to watch the video later, let me grab a snip of this and talk through it. Um,
Okay.
I know you could just check the boxes, but just to give you some context in case you later on, like, what did he say? Why did he say that? All right. So the first thing is that th this is an equation of a line. There's two special cases, horizontal and vertical. Verticals are x equals a number. Horizontals are y equals a number. And the other way to think of it is there's no y or there's no x. But since you have both x and y, these are out. Maybe just put lines through them. Okay. So now to graph this, there's two ways to do it actually. The first is what we did here. Remember we were doing this in the previous problems. The other approach, and this applies when it's in what's called standard form, which is what it's in now.
So it would be the last two.
Yes. Okay. Now, this question that you're looking at here, the equation is in standard form.
Okay.
So when it's in standard form, it's best to determine the x and y intercepts to graph it. Which of those answers says that?
This
Yes. Yes, good. Okay, so you did one like this earlier. See if you can do this one on your own.
Would it be the first one?
It is not the first one.
The third one.
It is not the third one. What is the intercept in that equation? It's not the number in front of the letter, it's the other number.
15.
Yes. So it's either B or
Oh,
D, and it's the one that says like no M's for the day, whatever M stands for. In this problem, M is number of miles, so it's the one that says no miles.
D.
Yes. All right. So this one is uh kind of different. The slope is the number in front of the letter. What is the number in front of the letter?
28.
Okay, so the slope is 28. That's either A or C. You see that? It's either A or C. And it always tells you the additional amount. And since it's positive, it increases.
C.
So they both say increases, right? Like they both have the word additional amount and increases. But the slope is what it increases by.
Oh, so A.
Yes, yes. The slope is the amount of increase or decrease. There you go. Nice job. What's going on with that one you've not checked, the graphing linear equations?
Oh, I forgot to check that one out.
Okay. Just curious if it's done. So are these all the assignments you have due this week?
Um, it's the last three.
Wow, you got a lot of homework there.
Yeah.
Okay. Has class gotten better for you with some additional help here? Like, are things more clear or,
Yeah, they
that's great. That's great. Okay. All right, let me grab a snip of this. I know it's easy just to like guess an answer, but we want to have the right answer no matter what. So I'm going to graph each of these for you really quickly, and then we'll see if we can figure out the answer. So x equals 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a vertical line. That's x equals 5. And then x equals minus 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do these lines ever intersect?
no.
No. So they are parallel. If they don't intersect, they are parallel. Okay. Now, to determine whether they're parallel, if it's not like the previous one, you have to determine the slope of them. So we'll do that now. It's essentially like the problems we were doing, just more work in the previous section. So uh, good practice here. So basically, you have to solve both of these equations for y. Just like we've been doing. Okay. And I mean, there is kind of another way to do it, but this is the best approach. So let me look at the one on the left here. So is the 15x positive or negative?
Positive.
It's positive. So you undo it by subtracting 15x from both sides. So you have minus 15y equals minus 15x minus 4. And you divide everything by minus 15. And so you have y equals 1x plus 4 over 15, like that. You actually don't care about this number, you just care about this number. Could you do the same thing for this one over here? And tell me what the slope is. But go ahead and just maybe solve this one for y like I did the one on the left. And see, what are you doing on this one?
I'm kind of lost.
Okay, so you're going to add 5x to both sides. And so this is 5y equals 5x minus 3. Divide both sides by 5. Y equals 1x minus 3/5. What is the slope of the line on the right? One we just did. I'm sorry, what is the slope of the one on the left? This one is 1. What's the slope of this one?
Mm, 1.
1. So if they have the same slope, they are parallel. Okay. This one requires only that the second equation be solved for the slope, because the first one already gives the slope. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. What is the slope of that first equation on the left there? What's the number in front of x?
3.
It's more than 3.
3 over 4.
3 over 4, yeah. Now on the right, to solve for x, what's the first thing that I should do to solve for x here?
Um, Subtracted by 8.
8x. So it's 6y equals minus 8x minus 5. Now what? What is the next step here to solve for y?
Divide everything by 6y.
Not 6y, just the number.
Okay.
Okay. What does minus 8 over 6 reduce to?
It would be negative 4 over 3.
Okay. And what is the slope here on the
Um,
right?
right. Negative 5 over 6.
The slope is always the number in front of x.
Oh, negative 4 over 3.
Okay. Are these the same?
No.
So these are definitely not parallel. Now perpendicular is a little different. Perpendicular means that you take one of the slopes, you flip it, and then negate it. So you'll see things like in class, like opposite, reciprocal, flip, negate, something like that. So yes, these are perpendicular. Okay, we're going to stop there for today.